Hi, this is Rob from Run Your PB, and I'm here to tell you today about the best things to do in the last 3 weeks of your marathon training. So basically, you've done all your training, you've done your last long run. Now what should you be doing? Okay, I'm going to start with pace because it's the most important thing. Getting your pace right from the very beginning is the most important thing you can do when running a marathon. It doesn't matter whether your training has gone really well, it doesn't matter whether your training's gone badly, it doesn't matter if you've been drunk the night before. Everything is depending on how you feel when you're standing on the line and what pace you're going to run at. You've got to get your pace right from the start. This means checking your watch every 300-400 meters. Check your watch, make sure your pace is correct. This will make the difference between having your dream marathon and having a nightmare. I can't emphasize this enough. Go off too fast and you will really pay at the end. You're not depositing time in the bank, you're making withdrawals which your body won't be able to cash in towards the end of the race. That sounds a bit harsh, a bit mean, but it really is. It's best to try and do a negative split, so start slightly slowly. It will feel like you're jogging. A marathon, I always say, is a long jog. That's all it is. You just keep going, but don't run off too quick at the start. How do you work out what's too quick? The formula I've been using for over 10 years now when I've been coaching runners is to double up your half marathon time, and depending on what your half marathon time is, add a certain amount of time. So if you run a half marathon in 2 hours, double it and add 20 minutes. If you run it in an hour 50, double it, add 18 minutes. An hour 40, double it and add 16 minutes. Hour 30, double it, add 14 minutes. An hour 20, double it and add 12 minutes. You'll find that this works out pretty good. You can tell with the real elite runners when they're running a half marathon in about an hour, they'll be doing, say, a 2 hour 5 marathon. So the quicker you go, the less time you need to add on. If you've not done a recent half marathon, then get yourself down to park run, get yourself into a 5k race, even if it's just a week or two before your marathon. Give it everything you've got and see what time you do. Work out your pace, whether it's 7-minute miling, 8-minute miling, 10-minute miling, whatever, and add about a minute to that. A little bit more the slower you are, but that just gives you a rough guide on what you can do. But remember, keep your pace nice and consistent from the very start to enjoy the best marathon you'll have. So training, it's just your last 3 weeks of training. You've done all your long runs. You shouldn't be doing any more long runs in your last 3 weeks. What should you be doing? I think the easiest way to do it is to think of 30, 20, 10. So 3 weeks out, you do maximum 30 miles with your last run on the Sunday or Saturday being of about 1 hour 40 long. You don't need to do any more than this. It's important to know you cannot get any fitter at this point of time. You can only injure yourself, you can only get ill from overtraining. So 1.5 hours, 1 hour 40, absolute maximum at the end of 3 weeks out. So that would actually be 2 Sundays before your actual marathon date. Next week, 20 miles tops, just nice and easy. Get into a little bit of speed work if you want to, but 20 mile tops. And then your final week before the marathon, 10 miles. That's all you need to do. If you've been doing normally about a high week mileage of 40 miles a week, then you have to remember you do 10 miles in that week, and plus your marathon, 26 miles, so that's 36 miles for the week. That's quite a high mileage for a lot of people, so take it easy. You want to arrive at the start line with no aches and pains. You want to have no injuries. You don't want to be ill. You want to be fit, ready and raring to go. So remember, 30, 20, 10. That's all you need to do. Get on the start line and then give it everything you've got. Okay, some quick tips for you. cut your toenails early in the week, so Tuesday, Wednesday will be good. You don't want to leave these things to the last minute because you might tear a nail or anything like that. So just cut your toenails earlier in the week. I'd always recommend wearing a vest for a marathon. It's just cooler. When you get hot, you want to be sweaty. It'll evaporate the sweat away. It'll keep you cooler. So wear a vest. The night before for your main meal, because you'll be getting up early and having breakfast earlier than normal, try and have your evening meal the night before a little bit early. So I'd definitely say no later than 7 o'clock, and that'll give you time to digest it fully and everything like that. So early meal. And last of all, if you're not going to sleep the night before, you'll be a bit nervous, a bit like me now, a little bit nervous. You might get a good night's sleep. So don't worry about that. It's normal, happens to most people. So by the time you get started in a race, you won't even notice you've not had a good night's sleep. So first of all, I'm going to talk about planning your day. Okay, what do you need to know? What do you need to do? So the first thing is everything is about coming down to the start time. What time is the start of your race? What time do you need to be at the event by? Are the road closures you need to take into account? Are the parking? If you do some of the big marathons like London Marathon, what time do you need to put your bag on the lorry? You need to be there before that, and maybe a bit earlier than you started. From that, you can then work back to what time do you need to have your breakfast. So if you're like me, I need to eat 3 hours before the start time. Can't eat anything in between. So if I'm doing a race that starts at 9 o'clock, I have my breakfast at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and also you need to have a routine already planned out that already works, that you know will work for you on the day. So for me, I get up about 5:30 in the morning for a 9 o'clock start. I'll have a strong coffee and a glass of orange juice. Now that will help me go to the toilet, if you know what I mean, and that's an important thing to do. You know you have to do it, so we may as well discuss it. So once I've done that, I'll do all my mobility routine. So I will do my leg swings, my arm swings, waist twist, touching the floor, get everything mobilized, knees, shoulders, ankles, waist, back, everything. So if you haven't got a routine, you can check out my mobility routine there as well. If you haven't been to the loo by then, that'll definitely get you going to the toilet. Sorry about that. Once you've done that, I'll then have my breakfast, which for me is porridge. And then that's me sorted. I can think about everything else I need to do. If you're staying in a hotel, then make sure the hotel will serve you breakfast early. A lot of them don't start serving breakfast till 6:30 or 7 o'clock, which might be too late for you. So check before you book it. Check when you get there. If they're not going to do it, make sure you've got something that you can have in the morning. Most people will take something like Oatso Simple with them, so then you just need to boil a kettle and you've got your porridge there and then in your room. The other thing about mobility is don't wait till you get to the event. Most events are held where early in the morning and the grass will be wet. You don't want to be rolling around on the floor. There mightn't be space to be able to do it. So do your mobility in your hotel room if you have to. It's just about getting loosened up for the day, and then you're ready. You can do a little bit more leg swings and arm swings and waist twists and things once you get to your event if you need to, where you won't need to lie down for anything. Okay, so that's planning your day. So that's the end of Marathon 1 training hints and tips. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video. Thank you very much.